Happily ever after. But first, a small poem before the actual poem. Sometimes I fear grief before it even arrives, not death itself, but the weather it brings into the rooms of the people I love. I imagine the call, the sentence that breaks the air in half, the moment when the day continues, but something inside a person refuses to move with it. And I wonder if I know, and I wonder if I would know what to do. If I could become a place soft enough for someone to fall into. Grief pulls, grief pushes, it turns a person into a tide. One moment they are reaching for you, the next they are miles away, inside a silence you cannot follow. I fear that distance. I fear the helplessness of loving someone and watching sorrow move through them like a storm through a house you are standing in. Wanting to help and not knowing how. Wanting to hold them but not knowing where their hurt begins. Sometimes everything is right. The light is warm, the conversation is easy. Someone I love is laughing. And suddenly I imagine the day when that laugh might break, and I think about how small a person can feel in the face of loss, how love cannot stop it, how words cannot mend it, how even arms can feel like not enough. What frightens me most is not grief itself. It is the possibility that someone I love might be drowning in it, and I will be standing there with all the love in the world and no clear way to become a shore. So here's the poem. Happily ever after. The cries, the tomb, the gloom, the womb, the wound, bride, groom. A vow as a verb, not a feeling you catch like rain, not a fever that visits and leaves, but an action with fingerprints, daily, deliberate, almost holy in its repetition. I choose you, I choose you, I choose you. And still there is the other story, the one very few rehearsed in mirrors, the one that does not arrive with a villain, the one that does not break anything loudly. Two people once a dream the world could point at. Look, they said, as if looking could bless it. Destined, they said, as if destiny could cook a meal, as if fate could fold laundry, as if prophecy could pay rent. They spent a reality apart and called it waiting, called it timing, called it becoming, as if distance was a training montage. Then the door finally opens. They are finally allowed the same air, the same sink, the same bed, the same silence. And it is not fireworks, it is not collapse. It is the quiet click of a lock and the slow turning of a color into grayscale. And bride and groom become cries in tomb, gloom and womb, wound and room. Because sharing space is not the same as sharing life. Because proximity does not promise intimacy. Because love can be chosen and still be starving. Color into grayscale. You can do everything right, you can speak gently, you can learn the language, you can hold the door, you can ask, how are you really? And mean it like a prayer. You can water the plant at the same hour every day and still watch the leaves go dull. And you wonder, not with drama, but with a tired kind of sincerity, why teach the kids to name their feelings, then cripple their knees by cutting down their trees? Why teach the heart to speak and then punish it for speaking too much? Why hand someone the tools and then call them unreasonable for building a shelter? There are couples who are medicine for each other without ever knowing the dosage. A hand on a back at the right time, a laugh that interrupts despair, a shared glance across the room, a small conspiracy against the world, love as a mutual rehumanizing. And there are couples who fulfill each other too, but in a different way. In the way a storm fulfills a roof, by testing it until it learns where it is weakest, by revealing what was always there. This is the slow burn everybody romanticizes, until it is the slow death nobody can explain. Not the spectacular kind, not the kind with thrown plates and slammed doors, the kind that happens while you are making dinner, while you are answering emails, while you are rinsing the same mug, while you are saying, we are fine, and believing it the way you believe in weather. Everything is right, and for some reason everything is also wrong. There is no single betrayal you can point at, no headline, no clean lesson, no dramatic last straw you can hold up to friends like evidence. Just the gradual migration of wonder into routine. The gaze that once felt like a spotlight becomes a light left on in the hallway, still useful, still there, but no longer miraculous. The stare that once said, I cannot believe you exist, becomes a glance that says, pass the salt. The hair done in a certain way that used to make someone's whole day soften now becomes normal, normal, normal. Not because normal is evil, not because familiarity is poison, but because the tragedy of normalcy is this. You can live inside a miracle until it starts to feel like furniture. You can be held until being held becomes a background fact, like gravity, present, unremarked, expected. An expectation is a quiet thief. It steals praise, it steals awe, it steals the small ceremonies that keep love from becoming only logistics. You look at the person you choose and who chose you, and you still choose them, and they still choose you. But the choosing feels heavier now, like carrying water in cupped hands and watching it leak through the spaces between fingers. You try to fix it, you do the talks, you do the calendars, you do the dates, you do the therapy language, you say the correct sentences with the correct tone at the correct time, and somehow the air remains thin. Like you are both reading from the same script but acting in different plays. Like you are both rowing and the boat stays still because the current has a private name and it refuses to introduce itself. The poem does not come to rescue you, it does not arrive with a cure, it does not tidy the mess into a moral. It does what grief does best when it is finally allowed to be honest. It stays. It steepens itself in the bitter brew of a heart laid bare. It refuses to miss corners, it lifts the mundane and holds it with both hands like it is heavy and holy. Because a slow death lives in mundane places, in the way the good morning changes shape, in the way silence becomes a third person in the room, in the way your jokes start arriving and finding no place to land, in the way your body stops being a home and becomes a hallway, in the way affection becomes scheduled, measured, negotiated as if tenderness is a bill, the way marriage becomes a liability, a contract, a ring of bondage, in the way you start remembering who you were before them, not with nostalgia, but with a strange, quiet hunger. And still you are there, still together. Two people can share a bed and sleep continents apart. Two people can hold hands and feel nothing but skin. Two people can keep choosing love and wonder why love does not feel like love anymore. When they tell you love is a choice, sometimes you choose love and love chooses to be a discipline, not a feeling. Sometimes you choose love and love becomes labor and you are not sure whether you are building something or simply refusing to leave a ruin. Bride and groom, cries and tomb, gloom and womb, wound and room. A marriage can be a garden and still lose its bees. A home can be warm and still not be alive. And if you are honest, you will admit a cruelest truth. Sometimes there is no dramatic reason. Sometimes nothing happened. Sometimes everything happened. Sometimes the love did not die from hatred, but from being left unnamed, unfed, uncelebrated, from being treated like it would simply stay because you told it to. And sometimes you can even do all of that and still struggle. Why teach the kids to name their feelings, then cripple their knees by cutting down their trees? Why teach the heart to speak, then punish it for needing an answer? My prayer is, if normal is coming, do not let it arrive unattended. Make rituals out of what you keep calling small. Do not assume the miracle will maintain itself. Do not confuse endurance with intimacy. Do not confuse loyalty with life. And if you have already arrived in the black and white grayscale, if the dream has gone grayscale, if you are still choosing love and the choosing is bruising you, let the poem witness you. Let it hold the unresolved. Let it hold the unsolved. Let it tell the truth that is hard to say out loud. Some relationships do not explode. They dim. They dim while the dishes are done. They dim while the bills get paid. They dim while you keep showing up. They dim while you keep saying, I choose you, and wondering why the words sound like a door closing. Bride and groom, cries and tomb, gloom and womb, wound and room. And somewhere inside that room, somewhere under the ordinary, a heart is still trying to speak in the only language it has left. Not fixing, not blaming, not saving, just naming, just breathing, just refusing to let any corner go untouched. The cries, the tomb, the gloom, the womb, the wound, bride, groom. And the strange mercy of two lives learning how to survive, the tragedy and the tenderness of normal. Thank you.